You're watching men's college soccer on the ACC Network Extra. Hello, everybody. We welcome you to Raleigh, North Carolina, the home of the NC State Wolfpack, as they square off against third-ranked Clemson. Already so soon into the season, and we start ACC play alongside Alex McCauley. I'm Andrew Sanders. Delighted to have you all on board tonight. Alex, we start off the season, a lot of excitement in the air, but so soon. I mean, it's still hot outside.
Yeah, it's shocking to be already in ACC play, but this is going to be an amazing matchup for them, and what a perfect night for an ACC soccer game.
Get a look at the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Mike Noonan. What a job he's done in Tiger Town. This is his 8th season, an ACC tournament championship in 2014, followed that up national runners-up in 2015 and made the Elite Eight last year. So he has really built something special. Yeah, he's really built a culture of grit, determination, and a winning mentality that I think has shown itself on the field. So it's only to go up from here. And then a coach that's trying to build a special culture here at NC State. He did it at USF and now comes over to Raleigh. George Kiefer in his first season. Yeah, this will be a huge test for him, just seeing if he can implement and bring in a new culture to this team. Well, the student section is packed, and I think there was maybe some miscommunication for the students. They like to park behind the opposing team's goal. Well, I guess it's the ACC opener for them too, right? You gotta give the goalkeeper, the visiting goalkeeper, a game and see if you can get in his head a little bit. That's always a little fun for them. So while the students are still migrating from one side of the field to the other, we are underway here in Raleigh. NC State in the black unis with the red trim and the red numbering. Clemson in the white with orange numbers and shorts. So as we begin this match, what are your keys tonight for both teams? I think for Clemson, they have such a characteristic style of they're always a very fit team. Mike Noonan loves his teams being really fit. They're going to run at you, try to get you uncomfortable, maybe force a mistake. It almost looks hectic for the first couple minutes because they are so fast and explosive. But if NC State can really slow it down and push their tempo and get them moving around the park, they might be able to expose them pretty early here. But if they start to play into Clemson's quick pace, then they might be in for one here. So we'll see if Clemson can really impose their will and set that pace. Ball forward, looking for Wright for Clemson, and shouldered off nicely. Jason Wright, the senior from Jamaica, is definitely a threat up top. This Clemson team is pretty familiar with the back of net. They've got a lot of offensive firepower. Yeah, he's already got a ton of goals. Him, Diego Campos, and Kamarni Smith all have 2 goals apiece already. I think they've outscored their opponents 10-3 in the first 4 games, so they've got a lot of firepower. You know, we can expect maybe some goals here. So just over a minute and a half into this match, Clemson earns its first corner kick. Be taken by Campos. Didn't really clear that defend by the near post. Sent back in by Michael Melvin, the defender, and the pass goes awry. These two teams, of course, very familiar with one another. This is the 59th all-time meeting between NC State and Clemson in football, American football. And they call it the Textile Bowl. They've been meeting for quite some time. 59 meetings. Clemson leads the all-time series 34-14-7. In fact, NC State has not won a match against Clemson since 2008, so it's been quite a while. You know, the entire time that Mike Noonan has been head coach of the Tigers, he has not lost to NC State. So is it just pace? Is there anything else NC State can do to spring the upset and knock off Clemson for the first time in nearly a decade? I think set pieces are going to be a big factor for them. They're very dominant in the air. They've already shown throughout the season that they can score from the head with the likes of Tanner Roberts and Dail Tywell. If they can get a set piece early and start to maybe get one and then pack it in, I think that they could get an upset here. But Clemson is very disciplined and organized from the back. So they've got to try to expose them on something like a set piece because they've got guys who are dangerous in the air. Saw Grayson Rayner, the senior midfielder from Greenville, South Carolina, get behind the NC State defense momentarily. Could not converted into a true chance.
And I can tell you from the goalkeeper's perspective, those are a bit of a scare because you're a little stone-footed in that moment, and you're just praying it goes over the top.
And we'll certainly talk a lot about keeping tonight because you had a fantastic career at the D1 level as a goalkeeper. So I know you've got your eye on both of these guys between the pipes here.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Chimo. He's, if you look at him, he's smaller in stature, but I can always appreciate that. I was a smaller goalkeeper too.
Stephen Elias was offside. Late whistle, but the flag was up. There's number 5 in black for NC State.
Yeah, Stephen is a dynamic, pretty fast player. If he can wreak some havoc out on the flanks here, he might be able to get one.
So Chimo Morales, as you mentioned, the Clemson keeper.
I've
Kick
always
this off. You say he's undersized. I mean, he's listed at 6 foot.
Yeah, but you know, the online listing and the reality of what you actually are.
Maybe
trust
5'10" and a half.
I was 6 foot on my online site, and there's no way I was 6 foot. Maybe if I was in some pretty high studded cleats or something.
Sure.
But Chimo's really impressed me with his distribution abilities, and that is something that's continuously being asked of goalkeepers as the game continues to evolve, to be almost an 11th field player for them.
Yeah.
To be really involved in the attack and start to spring something. If you have a goalkeeper who's very good with their feet, that's another aspect and a tool that you can use to your advantage here.
Christoph Schneuli, the junior from Switzerland, his first year here in Raleigh, is guilty of the foul as he upended Robbie Robinson. So Clemson will get an opportunity here. And not a poor angle for Campos to be able to send something out in front of goal. Yeah,
as I talked about NC State, good on set pieces. Clemson has very much a gritty, hard-working, and rough mentality. So NC State's going to want to be really organized on this one.
Campos with a good ball. It falls to right. And eventually NC State is able to keep it out. So we talked about Chimo Morales of Clemson. The NC State goalkeeper is Leon Kropf. He's a freshman from Germany, actually played in the 2nd division of German soccer for FC Nuremberg. What do you expect to see from him? I guess you can't have too many expectations because he's just a freshman.
Yeah, right now, you know, he's had almost no time with the team. So he's looking to prove himself. He's looking to show what he's capable of. But knowing his background, he's definitely come from a high level, a lot of experience, and especially in the European leagues, he's playing with guys that are probably a good bit older than him. So we'll see what he can pull out. But I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic about his abilities.
Robinson is onside, looking for Campos, and defended well by the Wolfpack, and pushing it out is Manny Perez.
Manny's an incredibly fast player. I'll be excited to watch him as the season progresses.
Well, we get to see his speed here. A well-weighted pass. Perez is after it, and it's in the back of the net. Manny Perez strikes in the 7th minute and gives NC State a 1-0 lead.
He's dangerous. And if they can continue to work the ball on the flanks, they've got fast, dynamic, dangerous players up there. That's what they're looking to do, and that's a great goal from Manny.
Well, it was a great call by you to say, hey, he's pacey.
Yeah.
That's his 3rd goal of the season. We'll get another look at it here. This was after he was a little give and go, and he just outran the Clemson defense.
Looks like a bit of a miscue from Chimo. He might have seen it, might have gotten deflected, he might have missed it, but it looked like he either misjudged it or it took a weird deflection as it came off his foot. As I'm seeing it again, I think it was a deflection from the defender on the opposite side here.
I believe they're going to give the assist to David Loera. I'll check on that. But as it stands right now, well, NC State looking to spring the upset, and I mean, Coach Kiefer couldn't have imagined a better start than this.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, the really important thing is to stay organized defensively, to not give away any silly mistakes or anything that could expose them. If they continue to stay nice and organized and disciplined.
You know, just before that moment and that break made by Perez and the Wolfpack, I was about to ask you about how Clemson had pretty much lived up to your scouting report, where they were going to be so aggressive, and they really had the ball pretty much the entire time, those 7 minutes.
Yeah, they like to play high up, but of course, if you're going to play high up, there's got to be space somewhere. So there's going to be space in behind, and they might get sprung on a counterattack, and NC State really took advantage of that there.
Manny Perez already his 3rd goal of the season. This is going to be a goal kick in the end. And what a great story he is. Just a true freshman. He's from Garner, North Carolina, which is just down the road, a suburb of Raleigh. And he chose NC State because he spent his childhood, as he was growing up, he came to matches here at the Dail Soccer Stadium. So it was his dream always to play for NC State. Yeah. And now he finds himself, as an 18-year-old freshman, not just on his favorite team, but starting and making a huge impact.
Making a huge impact, yeah. You love to hear stories about kids that grew up idolizing and loving a team, and they get the chance to play for them, and not only play for them, but be a significant starter. And he's the leading scorer now, being a freshman. He had an amazing pedigree growing up, played with the youth national team, and then even got some time with the North Carolina FC Pro full team with an amateurism contract. So he's definitely got experience playing at a very high level here, and he's off to a very promising career.
So we'll see how both teams handle that first goal. As get another look on the far side here in the foul going against the Tigers. You hear in soccer often people talk about the fives. First 5 and last 5 and 5 minutes after a goal.
Absolutely, especially in college soccer. It's such a physical, fast-paced game that those crucial moments are just vital, that they impose themselves and impose their will, and NC State has come out on top. Let's see if they can continue this trend.
Clemson getting some numbers for it. This is dangerous. Caleb Duvernay got ahead to it after the initial deflection, but it is not out of danger yet. Scrap for the loose ball, and it's won out by Clemson's Oliver Shannon.
Clemson's also a team that's going to try to get under your skin, maybe do a couple fouls, rough you up a little bit to try to get you worked up. But if you retaliate, that's only going to work out for them. So you really want to try and play your game, stay composed, not fall into the trap of fouling them back and retaliating, because that can result in a yellow or red card. So NC State's going to want to keep their composure here.
Soccer, football, they always say it's always the second guy who's going to get caught.
Yep.
Not the instigator.
Yep. It's all about your response. And speaking of responses, Clemson this is going to be a big test for them. They're away. They just got scored on an early goal. Let's see what they're made of here.
And you bring up a great point. I mean, it's never easy to go down early, but especially when you're on the road. But if there's a team that was maybe built to handle it, it would probably be this Clemson Tigers team.
Probably. They preach and implement this resiliency, this determination, this grit, all the way from their strength training, their fitness, and their style of play that is suited for things like this. So let's see if they're up to the task.
Out for a corner kick. It's Clemson's second corner. And immediately after that goal by Manny Perez in the 7th minute, Clemson has once again been pouncing on NC State. They've had most of the possession. Campos with an outswinging corner and a whistle away from the ball. And the Tigers guilty of a push. Not a bad ball from Campos, and it did find the head of Tanner Dietrich.
Yeah, Diego Campos is pretty dangerous with his set-piece abilities, so that's going to be something to watch out for NC State. They don't want to give away any silly fouls in the final third.
And a lot of contact here, but Tanner Roberts still finds the end of it. He slots it just past the back post. It was out of the reach of Chimo Morales.
I thought he got a touch on that. I was going to say that was a very good save, but I guess he didn't get a touch.
Well, I'm not surprised at all that you were trying to give credit for saves.
It just looked like from here I wanted to give him something. It was a difficult shot to try to deal with.
Well, so far, as you get another look just past the far post, Clemson has dominated this match outside of 2 instances. Right. NC State scored on one, nearly scored on the other. I mean, if you want to talk about counterattacking soccer, I mean, that's pretty textbook from the Wolfpack.
That is textbook. Staying organized, and then if they see exposed space in behind, trying to spring it as quickly as possible. I've been impressed with the organization and the discipline from NC State so far.
Clemson with the ball in the NC State half once again, trying to get it into that attacking third, and they do. 3 in the box for the Tigers. Rising up was right. It's over his head and falls to the feet of Rayner. Ball chipped in, and there is Leon Kropp.
Well done from him. Good decision to come but that's an easy one. That's an easy pickup. If I'm the goalkeeper here, as soon as the ball gets cleared, I'm trying to tell them to step up as quickly as possible because spacing is such a huge issue in this game. If you give them any space to turn and run at you, that's going to cause problems.
Little combination here. Elias finds Caleb Duvernay, who really likes to run out of his left back position. Had Tanner Roberts in the box. He was the lone man. And Elias will instead bring it out. So NC State playing with just Tanner Roberts up top right now. He's a solid target forward.
Absolutely, yeah. He is a hassle in the air and someone that last season even scored a lot of goals with his head. And he's also not just, he's got good timing, but he's also not afraid of any sort of challenge. He's not one to back down. He's already even gotten a couple injuries, but he's implemented this style and he's shown people that he's not afraid. He won't back down from anybody.
We've already seen and talked about a little bit of Clemson's Jason Wright up top, who has scored a couple of goals, pairing with him Harrison Kurtz right now. Again, trying to spring Tanner Roberts.
It's well done. It's a good decision from Chima to come out and deal with that pressure. When your back four plays a high line like that, goalkeepers are needed to come out and clean up anything that gets in behind them. That's part of the game.
And if you're a goalkeeper coach, which you are now, but in your playing days, you just want him to be decisive, right?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, he once he makes a decision, he's got to stick with it. And especially with a team that plays up this high, you need to pair that with a goalkeeper that's comfortable playing high off their line. As soon as the ball gets clipped in behind, they've got to now become almost a sweeper keeper in a sense. So if that's the style you're trying to implement, you can't have a goalkeeper that likes to hang out in their 6-yard box.
Saw a little bit of that from Manuel Neuer.
Yes.
In the World Cup.
He has revolutionized the position. Definitely. He loves to come out, and some people even say borderline scary and risky, but he's the best goalkeeper in the world, so I guess he can pull it off. I wouldn't suggest that many other goalkeepers try that, but
do not try this.
He looks like a field player out there at times.
Well, it's interesting that you say he looks like a field player at times because, you know, talking to some people around soccer, they would tell you that maybe 15, 20 years ago, goalies were goalies. That's it.
Right.
And now, you know, as you came up, you guys have to have some skill with the ball at your feet.
Absolutely. Now you're expected to be able to start the attack, maybe even switch the point of play. If you can involve your goalkeeper in it, it's another asset that your team can use.
Stephen Elias rising high. In the end, it did not threaten goal. Roberts trying to feed it to Elias, the junior from Raleigh, New York. So now the student section has gotten in the correct seat, on the correct side, and making a little noise.
Like to give the visiting goalkeeper a little heckle here and there, make it an interesting night for him.
Yeah, you've been the visiting goalkeeper in the ACC plenty of times.
That's quite the experience. My advice is delete all social media before you go to the game, because they will find things out about you.
There are some internet sleuths out there.
Yes.
Clemson looking to attack. Couple of step overs from Kurtz. And it's safely into the hands of Leon Croft.
Now that they're up a goal, you see what he's trying to do. He's putting his hand down like that. He's trying to slow down the pace of the game. Get NC State, make sure that they can play their pace, not quicken it back up, because that's what Clemson wants.
Even if it's your first year on a team, even if you are a freshman, like in Croft's case, as this ball falls to Roberts, and potentially a little chance. You hear that student section get a little rowdy. It's an easy save from Morales in the end. But back to my question for you, even if you're a freshman, playing that position, you have to be vocal. You have to be one of the leaders of the team, right?
Right. Even if you don't even have the armband, you have to have a presence about you that instills confidence in the rest of your team. As a goalkeeper, you can see the whole field, so you have to lead by organizing, by encouraging, by holding people accountable to defensive principles that you're trying to implement on your team. But even if you're one of the younger guys, that's no excuse, because when you play this position, you got to lead.
So you saw some of that from Leon Croft.
I always, when I'm watching a game, if I can hear the goalkeeper, he's doing pretty good with his presence. It's loud commands that instills confidence in the rest of your team. That's huge, especially me being a goalkeeper coach now. That's what I look for in goalkeepers, how they carry themselves in the game.
Which is why you guys just turn into good broadcasters. That's how it goes. You're vocal on the field and off.
I'm just glad I haven't had a voice crack yet. I think I was pretty characteristic for a good voice crack each game. Anybody on my team would vouch for that.
Yeah, luckily you're not as angry at me as you would be at the back line.
Right.
Not screaming.
When you're screaming for 90 minutes, your voice, doesn't hold up. At least mine didn't.
So after Tanner Roberts was taken down, NC State certainly taking its time getting some numbers forward, trying to set this up. That was one in the air by Mbai. Malik Mbai has already been involved a couple of times defensively for the Tigers. And quickly, here come the Tigers the other way with a burst of speed. Robbie Robinson gets on the end of it, trying to cross it in. And not quite the connection, not quite the final finish from the Tigers, but threatening was Diego Campos.
Yes, absolutely. And if you look at some of the chances that both these teams have had, they're pretty similar. They're finding space in behind. They've got speed up top, and they want to try to catch people on the break. As you see, if you could have connected with that, that was a very, very dangerous chance.
Got it to that left foot, but a sliding attempt didn't really come off. Right now on the scoreboard, they have it listed as NC State with having 4 shots, Clemson with 2. Probably not really indicative of the overall traffic that we've seen.
No, but as you see, just because you have possession in a game doesn't mean you're creating the chances that are going to get you goals. NC State hasn't had as much possession, but they've had dangerous chances that have produced shots on goal. So when you're talking about productivity, yes, possession is a good place to start, but it's not the final tell in a game.
Where do you normally, is it just a makeup of everything? Statistic, I know sometimes, there's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics. But as Elias might have an opportunity here. Looking for Roberts, heads it on, and Chimo Morales came up with the left hand.
That was good. That was well done too. That was a hard one because he was going one direction. He had to stop himself, get back up. And for smaller goalkeepers, those are a bit tougher of tests. Sometimes the goals actually get in the way for you.
So Roberts did pretty well to get that on frame. Again targeting number 7. This one squirts out towards midfield.
These are the moments that I think are going to be really a test for NC State. After set pieces, can they get back and get organized? Manny does an incredible job of keeping them in their half. Great save.
Some of the Clemson fans, and certainly the Clemson bench, wanted a foul call, did not get it, and it nearly turned into a chance, or I should say it did turn into a chance, nearly turned into a goal for Roberts. Elias stepping past Robinson. Schnorley puts it all the way back. Roberts will be whistled here. Patrick Bunk Anderson went down holding either his eyes, his nose, somewhere around the face.
Roberts looked like he was trying to apologize, but it didn't seem like Bunk Anderson was having any of it.
It's ACC play, right?
I guess so. Not trying to make friends out here.
Robinson, I think initially was going to be given advantage.
I guess so, and then as soon as the possession was lost, they had to call it back.
At this juncture, over 20 minutes played, both teams settling in a bit. Again, advantage given, and that's going to be now a whistle as both Tigers were toppled there.
Seemed like maybe a legitimate foul, but definitely a little bit of acting there. Little embellishment.
Now earlier we saw Campos from about this angle but further out. As a goalkeeper, this distance, does it worry you?
This is a great distance for him to play a tight, very low-driven swinging ball that is absolute havoc for goalkeepers to deal with, because you have to make a decision. Are you going to come? Are you going to stay to react for it? If he can play the right ball in here.
Headed on by Wright, but the flag is up. Offside flag, and David Wright cannot believe it. He runs over to the line judge. Clemson will protest, but our score will remain 1-0.
It's tough to see from this angle, but it did look like he was leading Caleb Duvernay there. It's only to say was Caleb the last defender?
And you see the reaction from Jason Wright. He thought he had his 3rd goal of the season. And frankly, I did too. It was a beautiful header.
It's well done, and there's only thing you can do as a goalkeeper there is sit and watch. That was a well-placed ball from Diego Campos and a beautifully directed header.
So NC State will feel fortunate to have not conceded here. Again, we don't have the same angle, so it's hard to tell, but we could see that Wright was certainly ahead, as you said, of Duvernay.
Yes, it just depends on if he was the last defender or not. As soon as Campos kicked the ball, it seemed like Wright was in front.
Roberts initially winning that header in the direction of David Loera, who assisted on the Wolfpack goal. If you just tuned in, NC State took a 1-0 lead on a 7th-minute goal by Manny Perez, his 3rd of the season, in a give-and-go situation with Loera on a counter-attack break.
These are not the spots that NC State wants to be giving up fouls. This is only creating chances to put the balls in dangerous areas for Clemson here. Discipline and defending is key for NC State right now. As you see, he's starting offsides. Jason Wright right now. Let's see if they're trying to start something where he stays off his marker that comes back onside right before it's kicked.
Magic spray is down. Campos ready to go. Again, his target was Wright. And tomorrow night, the NC State Wolfpack football team plays host to the Marshall Thundering Herd in a non-conference matchup. Kelvin Harmon and the Wolfpack look to bounce back from a season-opening loss to South Carolina as they take the field at Carter Finley Stadium for the first time this year. Catch all of the action live on the ACC Network Extra starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I think both NC State and Clemson fans were disappointed that the Wolfpack couldn't pull it out against South Carolina.
Yeah, definitely. Clemson was probably the only time they'll be rooting for NC State.
Roberts told to get back up. Didn't look quite shoulder to shoulder, taken down from behind, but a clean play in the end. Grayson Rayner got in there aggressively. Robinson trying to chest it down.
And just like that, Clemson's inside the NC State 6-yard line. Like I said, they've got pace, they've got dynamic players, and they can find them in behind really, really quickly.
And in college soccer, it affords you as a coach, and Mike Noonan loves to play this style, he can be even more aggressive because the substitutions.
Yes, absolutely. So if he's got a line of maybe 3 players that he can rotate in and out, especially once the second half comes, because there is re-entry, he can run them, try to push the pace, and then knowing that they've got subs, so they know if they're only going for 10 minutes, they can go as hard as they can, knowing that they'll get a little rest. So that's a big aspect of college soccer right there.
The physicality of this match starting to pick up a little bit. Now Clemson's playing its 5th with a 4-0 record. NC State technically only playing its 3rd match. They had a match canceled in the 30th minute with a 1-0 lead.
Right, they would have wanted that one to count for them, but can't do anything about the weather.
Already finding themselves in ACC play, and the physicality that comes with being in conference is such a step up from the non-con.
Definitely, yeah. The ACC is just stacked with players, and not only good players, but terrific athletes that are going to want to impose themselves physically on you. The physicality is a huge aspect of college soccer, not just ACC. There are a lot of other conferences that are very, very athletic and want to kick and run and try to put you under pressure right away. Not the prettiest soccer, but certainly effective.
Boy, Tanner Roberts has been busy tonight already.
Absolutely, already shown that he is going to be the main target for anything that is played long for NC State. He is a handful for sure.
And relying on him so much to provide some kind of hold-up play because he's kind of the lone ranger out there.
Definitely, yeah, and as much as NC State has been in their half, they need him to hold it up. But I tell you what, that's a tough job for him to try to take on by himself. They need to get second players up there to try to provide some support, people that he can knock the ball back to so they can keep possession.
And that last 20 seconds or so, I think, highlights that, where Roberts was unable to win the header, and immediately Clemson had a through ball going back towards NC State's goal.
Right, but that's the mentality of Roberts is he's not gonna. That's him for as long as he's in the game. He's shown that over the past couple seasons that he's going to give everything. He's going to leave it all out on the field. It's very impressive to watch. Minus a couple times, NC State has stayed pretty organized defensively. And as you see now, the game is starting to slow down now that we're out of that first 15 minutes hectic. We're well outside the first 15 minutes now, but as you see, the pace starts to slow down, and really who can control possession but then pull teams out is really going to be the one that's going to get the win here.
Clemson trying to work the Wolfpack defense sideline to sideline a little bit. Last touched by Elias, it was Dean, and so Rayner will take the throw. Wright providing a target. Ian Robinson, keep it up. And now a little space for the Wolfpack. Can Gianluca Ahillen break down the defense? No.
Manny Perez has impressed me. He looks like a wiry, kind of scrawny guy, but he's shown that he can hang with them in as far as the physicality goes of this game.
You mentioned earlier that he has spent some time on the U18 team for the United States, and that has to help him a little bit because many freshmen, I would imagine, they're a little bit shell-shocked. You talk about the physicality when you get up to, you were a player that played for 5 years. I mean, you get up with guys that are 21, 22 years old pushing you around out there.
Playing against grown men, really, it's the biggest jump for a lot of players. You can be talented, but unless you've played in an environment where you're playing against guys this old, there's nothing that can truly prepare you for it. But like I said, Manny Perez played and got some time with the full team with North Carolina FC, playing with grown men, so I think he's well versed in that area.
Right again, and a great save from Kropp.
Great save.
Well, Jason Wright has shown us that he is dangerous in front of goal. Kropp was up to the test this time.
He did well to redirect it and try to put it in a spot that Leon couldn't get to it, but he did well. He was equal to the task.
One more look at the service from Campos.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to stop your momentum, react, change direction, and be able to get a hand to that. That was a great save.
As a keeper, is it more difficult if there's a ball top shelf like that, or is that bouncing ball, does that give you more trouble?
It just depends on where it ends up. If it's a bouncy ball at hip height, it's a good spot. If you can put it up in the corner there, I think that's unsavable, especially if you redirect it and it's going back the opposite way. So now the goalkeeper, like you saw, Kropp was moving to his left. He's got to stop, move back to his right, and get to the upper 90 and right. That's basically unsavable.
So we've gone under 15 minutes left in this first half. NC State with a 7th-minute goal. Clemson thought that they had found the equalizer. This is Kropp going up high.
Well done by him.
Dangerous situation.
And especially the way that came off of Duvernay's foot, it had a ton of spin on it, so he was really hoping that stayed within his grasp. He did well with that.
I'm going to say Clemson almost had that equalizer as Jason Wright did head it into the back of the net. He was offside on that set piece, and they nearly thought they had another one there.
Jason Wright is always shown that he's a hassle, definitely. That he likes to get the ball, combine with somebody, but he's also a threat in behind, and as we saw in set pieces, he's got a lot of tools to work with.
A couple of oohs and ahs from the student section in the end handled safely. This will be Clemson ball. So just over 30 minutes in, your impressions of this match to me, I mean, highly entertaining match so far.
Very much so. It's been a good bit of back and forth. Like I said, the pace started and it was almost hectic, but NC State did a good job to catch them on the break. But we've seen that Clemson has definitely got some dangerous players going forward. They've already shown some really, really good chances, and I think we should expect some more.
Malik Mbai heads it not once but twice. And it eventually finds its way to the Clemson captain. Deflecting off an NC State defender, so Diego Campos will make his way to the corner once again. This is the third Clemson corner.
Yet another set piece for them. NC State, they're really going to prove how organized, how disciplined they are dealing with still balls like this.
Punched by Kropf.
It's well done. Like I was talking about earlier, if it's a ball behind as a goalkeeper, you make a decision to go, you got to go. And same goes for corners. If you make a decision, you cannot hesitate. And Kropf did a very good job to get out, get a strong hand on it, and he deflected it where he needed it to go. It's up, it's away, it's behind the first line of players so that they don't have another chance to put it back down into the box.
A little stoppage here, and I think we're going to have our first substitutions of the night. Ade Taiwo coming in for Tanner Roberts. Gets a nice hand from this Wolfpack crowd. Coming out for Clemson is number 9, Jason Wright.
Roberts getting a well-deserved rest. He had his hands full up there, and I think that's Coach George Kiefer's idea, that he works them hard and then gives them a rest so that they know they can really leave it all out there.
Checking in for the Clemson Tigers is Kemarnie Smith, true freshman from Nottingham, England.
He's another player that's going to be very dangerous. Got 2 goals as well. So tied for third as the leading scorer. One of the other 3.
So he's got some good size. Went up to challenge for that ball. And now the other substitution, Ade Taiwo, trying to get on the end of this one. Good to see Ade Taiwo back playing for NC State. Suffered a season-ending injury last year, tore his ACL.
Ooh.
Morales colliding with Brad Sweeney. And now Taiwo is in there and tempers flare.
Yep. We've seen Ade to have a little bit of a temper, and I think he has the right motive, trying to back up one of his teammates, but he's now just turned it into a little bit of a shoving match, maybe more than it really needs to be.
Meanwhile, Morales is still down, and the Clemson players are calling for the trainer. He's going to need some attention.
Looks like, and I don't know if it probably wasn't intentional, but it looks like Brad Sweeney maybe caught him as he on his follow through here. Yep, he definitely caught him with his left boot right in the face, and that's a hazard of being a goalkeeper. You come in, you throw yourself into situations like that, things like that might happen.
Sweeney coming in there, cleats first, and it was Morales who definitely got the worst of that exchange. And so now we'll have to see just how this is handled by our officials.
I think Morales is lucky that Sweeney didn't come in cleats up. At least his studs weren't in the face.
Yeah, silver lining.
Yeah, silver lining, I guess.
He is receiving attention. And so we'll see if there are any cards handed out, maybe for the initial challenge or especially the skirmish afterwards.
It's a judgment call, I think, for the referee. Was there intention in that? And I don't know. In a close range.
Sunday, NC State hosting LIU Brooklyn volleyball. It starts at 2 o'clock Eastern right here on the ACC Network Extra. As Morales has now been tended to, and it looks like he's making his way towards the sideline and might come out of this one.
One thing you got to give to Morales is he was brave going into that challenge.
Oh, no doubt.
Didn't shy away from it, and that's something that unfortunately in a physical game like this, that might happen.
And I don't want to speculate, obviously, on the injury. You hope that it's something just like a bloody nose or something.
Yeah, you hope that it's not a broken bone or anything, just a hard knock that doesn't require any sort of serious treatment. He did catch him pretty good there.
And tempers still flaring, and are we going to have, I didn't see the signal initially, are we going to have a penalty kick out of this? It's at least what it looks like, the way that NC State is lining up.
The way that NC State's standing, yeah, we'll see what the referee wants to do.
Did you see, I mean, we've seen that replay several times now. I mean, the only way that they could give NC State a penalty is maybe if they determined that Sweeney was pushed in the back.
It seemed like he might have been brought down from behind, but that's a very tough call in instances like that where they're both fighting so hard to get to the ball, and it's very hard to keep your balance in that moment.
So Ade Taiwo was just handed a yellow card, and
what did we say? Who is going to be the first one to react?
Okay, so 2 cards handed out, one to NC State, one to Clemson, and also Gianluca Hillen, I think, was just hoping that there was going to be a penalty there.
I think so. That might have been wishful thinking there, but anything you can do to try to get in the opponent's head, and a chippy game like this, whoever can make another player lose their composure has an advantage.
And so Clemson will now send in the new keeper, number 0, Dail Kuzemka, a freshman from Clifton, Virginia. Have you ever been in this situation where you had to come in middle of the match due to injury?
Big test for the freshman, not in college, but definitely having to come in after another goalkeeper was injured. Even if you're not even a freshman or new to the team, it's hard to get into the flow of the game when you've been sitting and just watching the game for a while. But this is going to be a big test for him on a big stage, ACC match. Let's see how he handles a little bit of the pressure here.
So Dail Kuzemka into the match in the 35th minute, so 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Jostling for the ball, Loera, a magician, he comes out with it, and eventually the ball is served up, and just at the edge of the box, Kuzemka safely has it. Again, to reiterate the yellow card situation, Ade Taiwo given a yellow card for NC State, and Malik Mbai carded for Clemson.
I think both of those cards were from retaliation that they reacted. Ade Taiwo reacts when another player is getting inside Brad Sweeney's grill. He tries to come up and rough him up and back up his defender, but he gets penalized for it.
And out of that exchange, a couple of yellows, you could say it's even, but in my opinion, not really even, because Ade Taiwo coming off the bench and as an attacker, probably less likely to pick up a second as long as he keeps a cool head. But Mbai is a rock there on the back line for Clemson. Yeah,
that's going to be a major area of concern. Now that he's got a yellow, he's got to play a little bit more reserved than he normally would, I'd think, because he's going to be afraid of getting a second yellow and then costing his team big time.
Here he is with the ball at his feet here. Serves it forward and well over the head of the freshman, Kamani Smith. As a coach, you see some coaches, does it depend on the player whether you trust them, that they're going to be able to be calm and be able to play that way? Because sometimes you'll see coaches just sub players out once they get a yellow at the college level.
Right. And honestly, coaches know their players, and you can just tell from the demeanor of a kid, even if he's not on the field, typically what kind of attitude and what kind of temper they're going to have on the field. And if a coach doesn't think that a player has it in him to stay disciplined, he's probably going to want to take him off, because it doesn't just punish that player because he doesn't get to play the rest of the game. It punishes the whole team because now they're playing man down.
Shots 6-4 in favor of NC State. Corners 3-1 in favor of Clemson. Tigers' Chimo Morales coming out due to injury. Hope that it's just some bleeding or something like that can be stopped, and then he'll be back and ready to play in this one. And now time going to be stopped here as Stephen Elias, who I think he's saying that he got hit in the face, and once he kicked the ball back to him now he's admonished by our head official.
You never really can tell. Players are always going to try to influence and persuade the ref that they're innocent. Always hands up, I didn't do anything. NC State doing a pretty good job of meeting the physicality of Clemson here.
Good, headed on. Campos from a tight angle tried to cut it across, and there was really nobody on the doorstep to get on the end of that.
We've already seen that that's a dangerous ball from Mbai. If he can play it up to Campos there, he gets in along the flank and plays a dangerous ball across. That's going to be something they're probably going to try to keep doing. And as we see fast approach in the last 5 minutes of the half here, this is going to be crucial for both teams, who can leave the half with more momentum.
Certainly plenty of time for Clemson to mount a comeback in this one, but if they can level before halftime, that would do wonders for their spirit going in that locker room.
Absolutely, momentum is huge. If they get a goal right before the half is up, that deflates the sails of NC State. Now they're thinking about that goal heading into the second half, and so is Clemson, but on the reverse side of it, now they're pumped up and they're ready to go, come out strong in the second half.
Daniel Kuzemka hasn't been tested yet in goal.
He's going to be happy that his first 2 touches on the ball were pretty easy pickups. Just get him comfortable and familiar on the field here.
Even when you were very comfortable in your role, you know, as a multi-year starter, did you still enjoy getting an early touch?
Definitely, yeah. It just helps get you acclimated to the game and just get a touch, even though you're no stranger to what the ball feels like at your feet. But even in the game, you want to just maybe have your first touch as something pretty casual, just get your feet wet a little bit. One of the hardest parts about goalkeeping is that you could not be called on for 40 straight minutes, and then all of a sudden there's a ball in the middle of your box, and now you're called upon to make a big-time save. And that's why, as goalkeepers, even when the ball's on the other side of the field, staying engaged, talking to your team, keeping everybody organized, watching the ball and following it as it goes along the field is very, very important, because if you zone out for a second, like we said, college soccer especially is a quickly and fast-changing game. You can get caught out if you're not engaged.
We've seen how quickly Clemson can get the ball into the 6. Robinson was cut off by Duvernay just outside the PK spot, and there is a strong clearance.
Well done for them to get it out. Now they're going to want to get up, press up the field, and make sure they cut out any space in behind. That they don't want to give that away to Clemson.
Header won by the Wolfpack along the far sideline, last touched by NC State.
The last little period of this game, we've seen that, no, seriously, it's been a little bit more of a shoving match than legit chances by both teams, but unfortunately sometimes those are the battles that you have to win in college soccer.
Ball ping-pongs around, falls at Robinson's feet, and Hillen gets it out of there. Loera taken down hard. And I think it was the second contact that drew the whistle, and now the clock is stopped, which means there's a pretty decent chance we're going to see a card, and we will see a card. You get another look at the challenge.
But it's not the challenge, it's what he does after. He gets up, he retaliates, maybe exchange a couple words. He got the foul. I'm not sure why he's feeling the need to now exchange words with him. That's only going to work to his detriment. Like I said, Clemson is a team that's going to try to beat you up, get under your skin, and that's exactly what they want. That's a foul they're willing to give, especially if it gives one of your better players a yellow card.
Yellow card handed to Alexander Hemmingsen, freshman from Denmark. Clemson quickly now trying to catch NC State without having their defense really fully set. Diego Campos able to split a couple of defenders, slides in with the left foot. Now it falls, and a save by Kropp. We talked about legit chances. That was one for Clemson with Grayson Rayner.
Great first tackle by David Norris, and then Kropp is equal to the task on the next shot. Well done to get it away. And a good clearance.
NC State the other way. Perez trying to split. And well defended by Clemson. You can see the urgency from the Tigers here. Last 5 minutes, they really want to get this goal before half.
Definitely, it's something that is huge. The mentality of any team, they know that it's something that's important to carry momentum going into half. And you see they created a very good chance. They're pushing the tempo, playing penetrating balls that are hard to deal with. NC State's going to want to slow it down as we go into the half. Just as he does right here. Kropp doing well to slow down the pace. We've got under 2 minutes left. They don't want to rush anything.
He's taking his time. Found a wide open Stephen Elias. Here come the Tigers again, $1:30 on the clock. Plenty of time for their fast-paced offense. Rayner marked by Elias, stepping inside of both he and Duvernay, but he didn't take the ball with him. And at this point, NC State very content to take a 1-0 lead into halftime break and just play it out to no one in particular.
Absolutely. Their emphasis right now is just staying compact as a defense, not trying to do anything silly with it or too risky in the back. As we approach the last minute, they're just going to want to get it out of their half.
See, that student section is packed, as I think people realized there was going to be a shortage of seats for the second half.
Right. They went and grabbed those early, and especially with a freshman goalkeeper in net for the away team. I want to see what he's made of.
Kropp onto the track that surrounds the pitch here at the Dail Soccer Stadium. Under 30 seconds to go. Hemmingsen feeds it to Dietrich as Clemson will go from near side to far side. And a turnover.
Clemson doing a very good job of keeping in their half as the seconds tick down here.
Maybe one last chance for the Tigers. Robinson feeds it in, and time runs out. 0-0 on the clock of the first half. Well, the fans here at the Dail Soccer Stadium very pleased with what they saw in that first half.
They're going to be happy. Yeah, they're 1-0 up on a goal. There's a lot of exciting play going on both sides. And anytime the home team's got a shutout, the fans are going to be happy.
NC State has not beaten Clemson since 2008. Might the Wolfpack be able to spring the upset tonight? We'll find out at the start of the second half. But don't go anywhere during the halftime break. Alex and I will have highlights and stats from first half action. We've got to take a break. NC State 1, third-ranked Clemson 0 at halftime right here on the ACC Network Extra. Back, everybody, at the Dail Soccer Stadium. NC State The underdog tonight with a 1-0 lead at halftime over third-ranked Clemson. He's Alex McCauley. I'm Andrew Sanders. Time now to show you those highlights we promised you just before the break. And NC State didn't waste any time taking this lead. In just the 7th minute, Manny Perez striking for his 3rd goal of the season to put the Pack up 1-0.
Yeah, like I said before, both teams are looking to catch both teams on counterattacks here. They both, NC State and Clemson, both play high lines. Great ball in behind, good cross. It looks like a little deflection, so lucky, but great goal.
And you saw the slow-mo there because there was no question of whether Wright had a great header here.
Yeah.
He buried it in the back of the net, but he was offside.
Yeah, it looks like he might have led Caleb Duvernay in that exchange right there, but good call if he was offsides. Hard for us to tell.
And then this exchange ended up having a card given to both teams and a goal kick in the end, but the biggest thing that came out of it, Chimo Morales, the junior goalkeeper from Spain, had to come out of the match. They were tending to him. It looked like some kind of bleeding on his face. It really picked up a cleat right there.
Yeah, we're hoping it's not anything serious, maybe just a bloody nose. That's just part of the job right there, an occupational hazard of being a goalkeeper. You got to throw yourself into dangerous situations like that. Just can only hope that he's okay and the recovery's quick.
So we'll see if he can come back out for the second half or if it's going to be Daniel Kuzemka's job, the freshman goalkeeper. We will take another break. When we come back on the other side, we'll take a little closer look at stats from the first half. Pretty good look at the ball they're playing with here tonight. The Adidas patriotic version there.
Is that a Canadian leaf right there?
Hey, actually it is.
I guess it's USA and Canada.
Good call, partner.
Hey.
NC State 1, Clemson nothing. We'll take a look at the stats now from the first half. There are 2 flags on that ball, it looks like. There are, well, 1 goal in this match. Anything really stand out for you on this stat sheet?
Not really. Not that it surprises me, but if you look at the foul count for NC State, they've done a good job of imposing physicality, which is something that Clemson is always stereotypical at doing, but pretty even on shots. Shots on goal goes to NC State. They've got more productive chances, but still, and Clemson with some pretty dangerous chances and something that's going to bode well for the second half and looking like a good, exciting second half ahead of us.
It really goes to your point that NC State was matching the physicality because Clemson did seem to be the aggressors a lot. That the Wolfpack doubled the number of fouls, and that's something that Coach Kiefer not going to be upset about.
Something else to watch out for. Clemson's got 3 corners. If that continues to happen, there's only so many set pieces that you can take. If they have good service and dangerous balls in there, very, very hard to defend for NC State.
All right, we've got to step aside once again. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes right here on the ACC Network Extra. Back here in Raleigh, NC State, a 1-0 lead at halftime. Clemson ranked 3rd in the country. You look at the top 10, Alex, 5 ACC teams. I mean, when you're watching the ACC Network Extra, you're going to see the best teams in the country, no doubt.
Absolutely. It doesn't surprise me at all that half of the teams in the top 10 are ACC. And if you were to expand it even to top 25, you'd see even more. And every single year it's stacked, talent, physicality, athleticism, all of it.
All right, we've got to step aside. Our final break. When we come back, we'll have second half action between NC State and Clemson. Back here with Alex McCauley, I'm Andrew Sanders. You're watching the ACC Network Extra. 3rd-ranked Clemson begins the second half with possession. They also begin trailing 1-0 on the road here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, as the second half starts, I think a huge factor for both teams is going to be fitness. Who's going to have the desire, but also the ability to grit it out, stay disciplined defensively, and continue to push the pace.
That ball hit way up into the lights here at the Dail Soccer Stadium. Fitness going to be key.
Absolutely, yes.
Here comes Wright with a full head of steam, looking for Diego Campos. Little room for a shot, takes a deflection and off a bounce. Saved by Croft as he parried it away.
That's well done. That's a tough one to deal with, especially one that bounces right before the goalkeeper. It's very hard to judge the skip off the surface like that, so he did well to just stay safe with it and push it wide.
But Jason Wright so dangerous and finding Diego Campos, and those two really make a tough pairing up top.
Very much so. They're dangerous and they can play those penetrating balls in behind. They both have speed and creativity. Going to be something that NC State's got to watch out for the rest of the game.
So the Tigers get a quality shot on goal, And a scoring opportunity not even 45 seconds into the second half. The Tigers are certainly going to bring the offense. You said fitness is going to be a key. Also for the second half, again, that developing storyline late in the first half with Chimo Morales coming out of the match due to injury. He does not begin the second half in goal. And so, again, I don't want to speculate too much, but because he doesn't start the second half in goal, I would be surprised to see him for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I think the fact that he didn't come back in the second half might mean it's something that's a little bit more serious, and they didn't feel comfortable with putting him back into the game.
And so, again, we don't have an official word on that. We will see, but it might just be Daniel Kuzemka.
Big test for the freshman.
And trying to keep his team, obviously, in this one.
Speaking of goalkeepers, Croft has really impressed me with just his sharpness, called upon a couple times, and even though they might be routine saves or some things that's well within his wheelhouse, you still have to have the concentration and the focus to be able to make clean and clutch saves.
Campos just kissed off the top of an NC State player's head, I believe. And it'll be another Clemson corner. You were saying this could be where the Tigers are able to cash in.
This is a factor. It all depends on how good Campos' service is. Can he whip this thing in there, put it in a dangerous area? NC State looks like they're going, for the most part, minus a couple players, man-to-man coverage. Can they stay disciplined, keep their marks?
This gets through everyone. The nearest Tiger to it was Malik Mbai. Good ball in. And just mishit by Alexander Hemmingson, who didn't see too much playing time in the first half. He did see a yellow card. He's back out there to start the second. So Croft will take the goal kick. And as we said, you know, Kuzemka, you have to be mentally ready to play right, even if you do start the match on the bench. But Kuzemka, pardon me, springs into this match. Now, Croft, it's not like he's a wily veteran over there. I mean, these are two freshmen being thrust into the spotlight in an ACC opener.
Yeah, and I guess if you really want to see what a goalkeeper can do, you just put him in a situation like this. Croft has been very good, equal to what he's been called to do, and I think he's starting out a promising career for himself here.
Jason Wright has given the NC State backline all sorts of trouble. Duvernay trying to mark him well, and he does so. Ball skitters out to Stephen Elias, and away go the Wolfpack. Roberts with a beautiful flick. And Roberts going to be whistled for the foul.
Again,
he's surprised by that. He's played the ball.
Yeah, he's a major factor, and that one, it was a little tough to tell from here, but I guess got to trust the referee's judgment on that one.
Looked for a moment like Stephen Elias was going to be in on goal all alone. And yeah, Kuzemka got a couple touches in that first half, but he certainly wasn't challenged like that.
No, not at all. And I even saw him start to make his run out there, and Elias was a lot closer to that ball, so he's probably happy that that got called back because he was putting himself in a hairy situation there. NC State, it's really key for them to try to control a little bit more of the possession, because the more they give the ball right back to Clemson with their dangerous and dynamic forwards, they can only hold on for so long.
The goal scorer, Manny Perez, gives it up to Simon Blotko, who's wearing the captain's armband for the Wolfpack. And by Crafty there to avoid Tanner Roberts. You can see how much of this offense really flows through Diego Campos.
Definitely. He's always looking to get on the ball. They're looking to find it to him because he's got that creative style and he's got the vision to try to play players in behind.
Campos now a senior, hails from San Jose, Costa Rica. Florida Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, played for Monteverde High School. And that team under Diego Campos won back-to-back state titles in the state of Florida.
Yeah, he's one of the leaders of this team. You can tell even with his personality and how much he's talking, he's directing people. Even from a position like winger, he's definitely bringing leadership to the team here. Had a couple experiences with him. He's scored a goal on me. I've saved a point-blank shot from him, and he actually hugged me. It was probably one of the most awkward hugs I've ever been involved in my life, because he hugged me from behind after I saved his shot.
As if to say, I can't believe you saved
Yeah,
that.
I can't believe it. And then all I could do was kind of reach back around me and awkwardly give him a pat too.
Yeah,
it was
kind of a little tap on the shoulder moment, but
yeah.
the logistics were a little difficult. NC State player down. This is, I believe it's Gianluca Hillen.
Here's a replay.
Oh, that's a big knock
Head to
there.
head, yep. That's always a concern. Even in youth soccer, I think they've implemented a no heading rule for, I believe it's age groups 12 and under, because of the dangers of, we've seen dangers of concussions and different scenarios that you get put in if you're trying to head the ball going up against somebody else. I think in college soccer it just comes with the sport. That's not something you can change at this level.
I would agree, and we saw in the first half the injury that occurred to Chimo Morales. I mean, it doesn't have to be a header. It can be any sort of ball. That ball was just rolling along the ground, and Morales got the worst of the contact. And I think some of my friends who are sports fans that maybe don't pay as much attention to soccer, some people think that soccer is somehow not really a contact sport.
Yeah.
Those people can't be more wrong.
Common misconception, I think. If you see the situations that players get put under, there's no doubt that it's a physical sport.
Campos with an inviting ball, had a couple of runners near post, far post, didn't find a target.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, that's a great ball for him to play. He can't really, he's got to rely on his runners to make the correctly timed run, but that's definitely a ball that he's going to look to continue to play. Croft does a good job to make a decision to come and secure it.
Roberts going up high with Patrick Bunk Anderson. Bunk Anderson, the junior from Copenhagen, comes out on top. His third year along the back line for Coach Noonan.
Definitely a leader that they can rely on to organize, to encourage, but also hold players accountable.
And you know, in the first half, I asked you, how you would necessarily handle a player with a yellow card, and Coach Noonan is going to go to the bench and take out Malik Mbai, and he'll place Justin Malou, a freshman from Senegal, in along the back line. And maybe this is just strategy. Maybe this is you think the yellow card might have a little something to do with it.
Yeah, who's to say? We don't know truly what Mike Noonan's thinking, but it might just be a little bit of strategy maybe. Malou's got different skill sets, different tools that he can use to try to impact the game.
Here he is with the ball, first touch.
It is a bit odd that you'd sub out a center back, though, so maybe it has to do with the yellow card.
That was just kind of my thinking, especially when your goalkeeper is already out. And Mbai has been, at least in my opinion, probably the most involved of the four in the back line for Clemson.
Very much so, yeah. He plays very, very good diagonally, stretching balls from the defense, and so it might be due to the fact that he's got a yellow.
Roberts completely closed down.
Yeah, Roberts is doing a good job of trying to be dangerous, but he needs players to come up and help him.
Perez is speedy, not quite enough pace to get on the end of that pass.
The only thing I'd criticize NC State of so far is just in their possession, just having a little bit more purpose and keeping it in Clemson's half, because they've got to give the back line a little bit of a rest. They've been working so incredibly hard at the end of the first half and now at the start of the second half. Can they try to keep it in their half and maybe slow it down even a little bit? But as we see, NC State is trying to play a high press style as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you, partner, that if Clemson is able to do what they were able to do for most of the first half and what we've seen for most of these first 10 minutes of the second half, it is only a matter of time before they find that equalizer.
Right.
I mean, Diego Campos has looked so dangerous with his shooting ability, but mostly more his service.
And with the likes of Jason Wright out there.
Yeah. There's still 35 minutes remaining in this one. NC State had those two great chances early on in the match. Probably the first 10 minutes, scored on one, nearly scored on the other. Haven't really had a chance like that.
No, they've stayed they've stayed pretty conservative, especially as you see. David was trying to get players up, but they stayed back and compact. They're not willing to get stretched because they know Clemson has the speed to expose them if they leave holes behind.
The ball too far out in front of Loera. And here comes the Tigers. Michael Melvin. He's got 4 white shirts in front of him.
You can see the NC State. You can hear them too shouting. The back line is staying very vocal, staying very organized and in tune with each other.
Oh, almost a great connection between Oliver Shannon and Grayson Rayner. Defended by the Wolfpack. Plenty of space now. You can see the Tigers not shy at committing numbers forward.
Absolutely. They're looking to get a goal for sure here and commit a lot of guys, bring all the firepower. And like I said, fitness might be a factor because as you see every time the ball gets cleared, it looks like people are a little bit slower to go up each time to step their line. So definitely starting to feel.
Wright rises up. Had no one he could get it to. I will say it's refreshing, and obviously Clemson ranked 3rd and another poll ranked 5th. I mean, a consensus top 5 team. Sometimes in college soccer, you'll see a team that is trailing 1-0 wait much longer to commit those sorts of numbers forward. And I find it refreshing that Clemson, is as good as they are, they're not afraid to do it with 30, 35 minutes left in the match.
Yeah, they're not afraid to really push people high. I think they trust the organization of their back 4 and the speed maybe of their back 4. And at this point, when they're a goal down, they know they need to get something, so they can't afford to sit back. And they definitely have the fitness and the pace to be able to do it for a long period of time.
Clemson has not been shut out this year. In fact, they haven't been held to 1 goal yet this year. 2 goals against Cal State Fullerton, Radford, and Georgia Southern. 4 goals scored against South Carolina, a match that head coach Mike Noonan will certainly remember fondly because that was his 300th career win against South Carolina. So they put up the goals every single match. They've had at least 2.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most surprising thing. And like we see that they've created all these very dangerous chances, so we know that in other games it's worked out for them. But on any given night, the thing about soccer is you think that you know what the outcome is going to be, and then it completely gets flipped on its head. And NC State is doing a very good job of hanging on here and staying disciplined, and I think that's something that Coach George Kiefer has really implemented into the culture of this new program that he's heading up.
Coach Kiefer jumping at the opportunity to take the job here in Raleigh at NC State. A fantastic city, and obviously the Wolfpack, a team that has struggled in the last couple of years, hadn't made an NCAA tournament in a little while, but has a great facility in place here at the Dail Soccer Stadium.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, amazing facilities, amazing opportunity for any coach. I mean, it's a dream job for any coach that's looking for a challenge like the ACC to take a program that has had a hard time breaking this seemingly glass ceiling of the bottom of the ACC and to try to turn the program around.
Stephen Elias sliding out. Pardon me, maybe that was Brad Sweeney. But it results either way in another Clemson corner. Here it is. And it falls all the way to Tanner Roberts.
As you can see, their NC State's even pulling their lone forward back to defend. That is a serious emphasis for them. They are not looking to give away easy goals on set pieces.
Perez started to turn, but without the ball, and good strength shown by Alexander Hemmingson. Here he is with it at his feet. Blatko, the Wolfpack captain, heads it away. But head coach George Kiefer, what he did at USF, obviously a lot of talent down there in South Florida. Great program, spent 15 years there, made 10 NCAA tournament appearances, a couple of Elite 8 runs.
Very much so. He's definitely made a name for himself in the college soccer world. He's got credibility, and I think that was one thing that made him an easy candidate choice for NC State.
Coach Dom Dwyer at USF. It's a familiar name.
Yes.
You watch MLS or men's
I
national
do.
team?
Actually, I had the amazing privilege of training with Kansas City, Sporting Kansas City this past summer. Or sorry, 2 summers ago, and Dom Dwyer was there, and he's a special player to watch for sure.
Got a shoe being tied right now. Just a little break in the action. Yeah, I've been out there to a Sporting KC game before. Fantastic atmosphere.
Atmosphere is great. Yeah, the stadium is really nice, and their facilities, talk about nice things at their fingertips, is definitely something that Sporting Kansas City has at their disposal.
All right, so shoes are tied, back underway. And of course, as soon as we get back underway, Jason Wright, I mean, he has incessantly chased the ball and just been a presence offensively for the Tigers.
Absolutely. He's been very, very dangerous behind someone. He was a transfer and somebody that they were really excited to add to the squad.
He was the intended target of that ball in. And here comes David Luera.
I like that ball. That's a pretty good ball from David to try to put it in a dangerous area, but it seems like NC State just can't even keep the ball for a little time to give their defense some rest.
Yeah, you talked about fitness earlier. Obviously, NC State has that great home crowd behind them here tonight. But Clemson maybe showing some tired legs at times, but NC State, when you're defending, it a little more tiresome?
Definitely, yeah. It's exhausting trying to defend constantly for a lot of the game, because once you clear it, to be successful, you have to get up, and that means more running. And as we've seen, slower and slower step clearing from NC State, and that's definitely going to be a factor. Let's see if they can hold on. I think subs will be a major factor, especially up top. We'll see if Coach Kiefer pulls some people off from the bench to help give some tired legs a rest.
You know, at the start of the match, you said that set pieces might be the key for NC State tonight. They're really crowded in there. Again, there's a new goalkeeper in Daniel Kuzemka.
Freshman.
We'll see how he handles this.
Some teams like to crowd the box like this, makes it just absolute nightmare for the goalkeeper.
It's swinging corner, way over hit. It almost ended outside the 18.
And Gianluca Hillen knows that that's not the ball that they need to be played in there. No one needs to tell him that. But I've seen multiple coaches, that's their preferred style for corners. They pack it in the box so it almost pins the goalkeeper in, and at that point, if you can play a good ball into a dangerous area, you're just throwing it into a pot and hoping something happens.
Yeah, as a goalkeeper, I mean, how do you even deal with that?
At that point, you really have to trust your defenders, because you have no momentum to come through the ball. The ball is coming straight at you. You're standing. You have to have strength. And to try and catch it would be, unless you are a 6'8", physically imposing goalkeeper, it's probably not the best idea. You're just trying to get something on it, get it out of the danger area. But also, you have to trust your defenders to work well for you there, too, because they're very important.
Good coverage there by Christoph Schnoili. Leads to a break for the Wolfpack. Couple of numbers for. Still moving in was Perez, and he's shown some flashes tonight. The goal and then moments like that. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
Definitely. Haven't seen much of that since the start of the game, but he's showing that he can be dangerous on the flanks.
And how about Diego Campos completely turned around Simon Blatko. Blatko eventually able to track him down. Offers Campos a hand up.
Campos is not going to take that hand.
Couple of veterans, couple of seniors going at it. They are familiar opponents here in the ACC.
From my experience, a hand from a defender is almost offered in a sarcastic manner. So as a striker, you
can't accept it.
Don't give me your hand.
And now Campos jogging off. So they're going to give him a little bit of a breather here. And obviously Coach Noonan hoping that they can equalize while he's on the bench, but if not, get him a couple of blows down there on the bench, and then with maybe 15 minutes left in the match, come on for the final surge if they still need that goal.
David Loera is pressing like he's 3 people right now. He's doing a very good job of keeping them pinned in their half. If he can get the rest of the players to press with him, he can be even more effective.
Michael Melvin. Saw Simon Blotko decided to give it back. Right, looking to turn with it, completely closed down. Clayton Sparks into the match for the Wolfpack.
And although it's hard, that's a ball that they need Roberts to try to hold up for them. They're so deep, if they can pump it up, have him hold it up, and get possession, that can help slow it down. But as we've seen, they haven't done it to much success yet.
Loera again gets a couple of oohs and ahs out of the crowd. You can see he's not the biggest guy on the pitch, but he's got the ball in a string.
Yeah, and it's got the size of his legs are just impressive in a sense. He's not easily pushed off the ball, as you can see. He can run and bang with the big guys that are a good couple inches taller than him. I've been very impressed with him, just his shiftiness, how quick he is with the ball. Him and Manny Perez have definitely impressed me.
You know, Coach Kiefer has obviously recruiting connections down there in Florida. Loera, a freshman from Orlando with U19 national team experience. And I guess not all that surprising is this will probably end up as a card, and it will. Official heading right towards Clayton Sparks. Hands out the second yellow card of the night to an NC State player. Clemson also has two. But Loera's favorite player, Eden Hazard, which I feel like is kind of fitting.
That is absolutely fitting.
Style.
He's probably likes him because of the type of style that they both like to play with. Creative and shifty, crafty little guys that you almost lose at times in the field.
Loera blocks that ball that was going to be a long ball. Mbai is back into the match. Deals with that. Loera looking to spring Sparks.
I think that was the right look. It just had to come a little bit sooner. The window of opportunity was very, very slim. If you could have played that a little bit sooner, I think CJ was into some dangerous space there.
Sweeney gives it up to Blotko. A second goal obviously would do wonders for NC State's confidence as the clock continues to tick down. They have not mustered really a shot on goal that was dangerous at all in this second half, at least not to this point. Little give and go. Duvernay, he puts it just past the frame. It's almost like they heard me.
And as you say that, Caleb said, well, yeah, watch this. I was about to say they're probably looking for a counterattack that they can find Clemson exposed and behind, find that space, but Caleb Duvernay with a great run. Good little give and go with him and Tanner Roberts.
So maybe that's all NC State needed, just get the outside back into the attack.
Caleb is definitely somebody who's got tools going forward. He's got speed. He can penetrate with good balls in behind and then run off for a good give and go. Definitely something, if he's got the legs to do, he wants to continue to try and exploit that. I'm already seeing a new style from NC State, just similar to Clemson. They are rough and tough and are going to want to try to get under your skin with some physicality here.
Diego Campos again stands under it. And a good ball. This is on frame off the crossbar. Kropp just got a fingertip to it.
Well, this is a good first ACC game that he's definitely happy that he's having. Already making an impact, coming up big in clutch times for the Wolfpack.
Didn't clear the first man. Perez with a head to it. Drops all the way out. Tigers track it down. Still applying that pressure. And Blotko able to pick the pocket of Tanner Dietrich. Gian Scalise took that throw in, newly into the match. Kropp just in front of Campos. So already tonight, the freshman, Kropp, has made, what, 3, 4 pretty decent saves?
4, yes. Four decent saves, probably 2 incredibly clutch saves. 2 off of headers as well, as like I said, set pieces will be a factor for NC State to be able to defend, and their goalkeeper is coming up big for them.
Because it's not as if Clemson hasn't had their chances.
No,
they have. You think about not just those 4 saves, but also the offsides goal that was called.
Offsides goal, yeah. And even ones that have narrowly missed, or they've definitely put him under pressure. As a Coach Kiefer, you love to see that out of a freshman goalkeeper, to come in and impact the game on a big stage like this.
Obviously, the clock is a friend of the Wolfpacks right now. We're getting to the 20-minute mark. Maybe it's a little too early, but as a coach, at what point, we haven't seen NC State completely pack it in yet. At what point do you think they start to think about doing that?
I think once it starts to hit the 10-minute mark, you're thinking, okay, game management for sure. And honestly, it's probably started even a little bit right now. Game management is huge, especially when you're out here to get results. Yes, you want to play an attractive style of soccer, but at the same time, you're here to get results. So game management is a huge factor. What is smartest for us to do? How do we expend our energy in the best way? If it doesn't make sense to run out, can we pack it in, conserve energy, and also be very hard to break down?
Oh, the NC State sideline awfully upset. And that's a red card.
Let's look at the replay here, because it's too much for us to see, but as we saw, the NC State bench reacted very emphatically.
And that was given to Campos, I believe.
It was.
And it was on the far end of the field. We couldn't see it as cleanly, but what stood out is the reaction from the bench. Everybody immediately up on their feet.
He just leaves both of his feet, turns his studs up, and every time the ref's going to see that, and he's putting up his hands, but I think in his head he knows that was the wrong decision.
Is it the combination of studs up plus the 2-footed challenge?
When you leave both your feet like that, it shows intention that you're not only trying to win the ball, you're trying to injure. And I think anytime a ref sees that, that's an easy call for them to see. He's not just trying to get the ball, he's trying to injure somebody.
Wow, and you see the body language of Diego Campos. This was already going to be an uphill climb for Clemson, and now the Tigers playing with 10 men, and not just 10, but without their best scorer, and really the man who they were funneling all their offense through all night.
Yeah, he's a confident, he's got a kid with a lot of personality, but as we see, the downside to that is he can get a little bit emotional in the game, get affected by it, and lose his composure, and then make a silly mistake like that. There was no real reason to leave his feet there.
And this is an offside call. So we saw NC State, they were bending, not breaking. How does this change things? Explain to someone that maybe doesn't have soccer playing experience just how critical going from 11 to 10 men is.
Well, one, you lose an extra attacker, but not only just an extra attacker, but one of your most dangerous players. So that right there takes away from the firepower of Clemson. So that makes NC State's job a little bit easier. Now they can't attack with as many players. And if they do attack with as many players, then now that leaves one less person behind that leaves them exposed and behind. So that only makes NC State's job easier. Diego Campos is not only punishing himself here, he's punishing the rest of his team.
And for a Clemson team that has been pushing and pushing all second half, now they've got a little more running to do. You see the freshman from England, Kamarni Smith, continuing to run. Tanner Roberts, how many times has he found himself on the turf tonight?
He ends up on the ground a good bit, but he gets up every time. He's shown resilience, and I think in some sort of way he likes it. He likes being fouled in some weird way. He's a tough kid.
Dwayne Wade, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Yeah, I guess so. And for a kid like Tanner, that's not embellishment. That is those are legit fouls.
Well, he's getting into wrestling matches with defenders, and again, he's been that lone man out there all night.
But he's got the personality, the character to do a job like that. That is not something a lot of people want to do.
Clayton Sparks could never truly control it. NC State has numbers forward here. And again, with that red card to Diego Campos, finding themselves with a little more ability to be able to press up on the Tigers the way that they haven't done the previous 70 minutes.
Yeah, you already see a change in just where the ball is on the field. Right away, it's made an impact, and it's making it easier for NC State to impose now their style and their will on the game. But don't count Clemson out. If they're nothing, they're anything but quitters.
On the road for the Tigers. Gave up a 7th-minute goal, and now trailing by a man. But not out of it, as you say. Still 16 minutes remaining. Do the Tigers have an equalizer in them? It's Trey Langlois. Gets it to Harrison Kurtz. And now, again, it shows up in a set piece because Campos isn't out there. Still loose in front. Chance for the Tigers goes awry.
Now with playing a man down, I think set pieces are a little bit easier for Clemson to try to attack. It's a dead ball situation. They can get themselves set instead of attacking in the run of play. These are going to be key for NC State to stay really, really focused and disciplined on.
Kamani Smith gives it up, closed down nicely by David Norris.
Kamani Smith coming off an overtime goal to win 2-1 over Georgia Southern. He has got to have some confidence right here, and we see his dynamic, we see his dangerous, creative style of play here.
And an NC State player is down.
Already fitness right here. We got cramps, working incredibly hard.
Definitely looks like a cramp. Trainer's going to come out. So we'll tell you about NC State women's soccer Sunday afternoon. The Davidson Wildcats take an in-state trip to the Dail Soccer Stadium to face NC State. First kick is at 1 p.m. right here on the ACC Network Extra. So we hope you'll tune in for that one. And I think we're on the same page here. It seems like the way they're stretching out and everything, probably just a cramp.
Yeah, definitely. And even this might be just a silver lining of what's going on. It gives NC State maybe a chance to slow things down, especially being one up. Even though they've got a man up now, maybe they can have a couple opportunities to try and exploit Clemson, but they are the ones in the lead, and there's about 15 minutes left, so they definitely want to try to slow it down and see if they can manage this game all the way out, milk this clock out.
15 minutes remaining. And for Clemson, it also allows the Tigers to get their win together.
Yeah,
because
regroup
again,
a little bit.
They're going to have to run a little bit more.
Yeah.
We saw Kamani Smith making that run. So
yeah.
Smith, we have not seen him paired with Jason Wright tonight. But I would imagine that those two are going to play some sort of factor with Campos out. You see Smith right there talking to the coach. Get the strategy together.
Yeah.
Get a sip of Powerade as well.
I don't think Clemson's really going anywhere. 11 men or 10 men.
Again, NC State has not beaten Clemson since 2008, and it actually happened on the road down in Tigertown. So it has been quite a while for two teams that play every year. Again, Clemson has really turned into a powerhouse. National runners-up a couple of seasons ago, Elite Eight last year. Before the national championship game run, won the ACC tournament, which is maybe just as difficult as winning the national championship.
Yeah, in a sport like soccer, ACC championship has just about as much credibility as the national championship when you look at the competition. Some of the bottom-ranked teams in the ACC are still within the top 25, 30 in the country.
Here's a header, and headed out by a defender before it got to Kropp, and another NC State Wolfpack player is down, writhing in pain. And
guess who it is?
Is it Tanner Roberts?
It's Tanner Roberts.
Tanner Roberts.
He's on the ground. He's not shy of throwing himself into any sort of situation.
Just a magnet for contact, it would seem. So. And again, soccer, not a contact sport. Yeah, he went up,
Just kind of got swiped on his leg as he was coming back down.
Leon Kropp, really, no matter the result, you have to commend his play today, but particularly if NC State is able to hang on and cement this upset victory.
Definitely. They've relied on him for some really, really big saves, and then if they come out with the win, it's going to be a big, big part that Kropp played in this game.
Just keeping this score line at 1-0.
Yeah.
And then obviously the red card making things a little bit easier, not out of the woods at all, but easier. And maybe a couple of Olays. What was that, 5-6 touches in a row before it hit the ground?
Not really sure what the crowd was saying there, but.
Loera, we thought about the shot, still going with it, and could not connect with Sparks. Clock continues to tick.
And this is where Clemson are dangerous.
Marnie Smith trying to sneak between two defenders, and I believe it was Schnoily who got a boot to it.
That might be out of a little frustration. That definitely is out of frustration.
And we're going to see another card. This one, a yellow card.
Composure again a factor in this game, and if you make decisions like that, you're gonna pay for them.
So Kamarni Smith becomes the 4th Tiger to be carded. Hemmingson with the yellow. Mbai is on a yellow. Now Smith, remember, Diego Campos is already out with the red card.
I don't think there's any surprise that there have been a lot of cards shown in this game. Clemson likes to play that style, and the danger in that is if you don't have very composed and cool heads in the game, you can do something you regret.
Well played by Clayton Sparks. Nearly got a fortuitous bounce. It ends up being an NC State corner.
That was well done by Sparks. It just slipped the ball in between two defenders, put it in a dangerous area for Roberts to try to run in on. Now they've been awarded a corner for it. Looks like they're going with a different play or style on their corner this time. Try to mix it up, keep the defense guessing.
Loera plays it short. And a foul will go against NC State as Clayton Sparks takes out the Tigers. So obviously when you play it short, you're looking for possession. NC State did not get that there, but they get it right back. Off of some defensive work. Sweeney giving it up to Clayton Sparks, a right foot blocked. Well done by the Clemson defense. Trey Langlois.
I think that was all due to just kind of a careless giveaway by Clemson in the back there. Someone plays the ball too long. They're maybe a little bit too hype or emotional, and now NC State capitalizes on it. Good run from CJ to now show off the shoulder of Sweeney. Plays it back to him. In the end, good tackle to make sure there's no shot on goal, but some promising stuff from NC State. We see the tide starting to shift here.
Roberts stepping in with a left foot. Did that take a deflection? Yes, it did.
What difference one man makes.
Campos out, and again, the goalkeeper, Chimo Morales, out. Now, Kuzemka has not really had to make a save in this second half, and thanks to Langlois protecting his goalkeeper there. But again, NC State, last corner from this side was not good. They really haven't attacked yet and put Kuzemka in a position where he has to make a play. And there he does make a save, albeit a comfortable one. Still
and again,
sprawl out.
Yeah, any touch you can get on the ball, he's just happy that came relatively to him. It's pretty hard to get a powerful header from running back and the ball straight up. Not a lot of power you can get on that from Schulny.
A little miscommunication there. Here comes Roberts in a sprint. And he goes out for another corner. Or no, a goal kick, says our referee. Now Clemson wants to bring in a sub. So I asked you earlier, I said, hey, when is too soon for NC State? When do they start thinking about being more defensive? You said game management starts in about 10 minutes. Well, we've reached that juncture.
Everything has kind of been thrown for a loop now that there's been a red card. So really, they're not under as much pressure as they have been. If they can, now they've got numbers up. If they can keep the ball, that will make the clock run out even more, and then they'll get Clemson tired. Again, we've already seen that they've been able to capitalize on just some emotional miscues from Clemson here.
This NC State team 1-1 on the season, beat Florida Atlantic 3-2, lost in overtime at William & Mary 2-3. So they're only 1-1. We mentioned the thunderstorm game, the thunderstorm game earlier, in which they were ahead, but we're not able to count that as an official result. In an exhibition, I think it's important to bring up NC State beat UConn, who was ranked in the top 25 in an exhibition. So I know that it didn't count towards the official record, but obviously playing right with number 3 Clemson tonight, this is a team that in George Kiefer's first year might be a little better than expected, better than projected in the ACC. Yeah,
I think really it's come down to their organization, their discipline, how they defend together. And that guy right there with the ball in his hands has come up with some big saves today to keep this a 1-0 game. But this is a great confidence and momentum builder for the season. To get it a big win like this early, this would be great for them.
Shot was taken by Gian Scalise. A tight angle, not really much room for him to put it here, but maybe hoping that Kropp just misplays it. He did not.
Yeah, that was safe hands that they're going into. Not a very dangerous shot, but definitely still something you have to stay focused and make sure that comes right into your control. David with space to run here.
You see he's so quick, able to chop those steps. And just a speculative effort.
That's wishful thinking right there. Got stars in his eyes, I think.
Brad Sweeney is a freshman. Played in West Bromwich Albion's academy, captained them for many years. He's from Birmingham, England.
Certainly somebody with an impressive pedigree, somebody that Coach Kiefer has brought in that is already making a huge impact on this team. I've been impressed with him. Just his control, the play in the middle, and his ability to be nice and disciplined and hard-nosed.
Jason Wright comes away with the ball, slides it across. Grayson Rayner, marked by Duvernay, couple of step overs. And now reinforcements come defensively for NC State. And again, it is literally a mismatch now in terms of numbers. NC State has one more man. Makes defending a little bit easier. The clock has stopped, and again, cramps looking like an issue here.
Dropping with cramps.
You know, a low pressure system came in. Things cooled off a little bit the last couple of days here in both North and South Carolina, but it's still warm.
Yeah.
And it's still a little easier to get cramps in the early part of the year.
Definitely, and just with a game, how fast we've seen the pace of this game. You don't care if it's, 80, 90, or 70. Cramps and fitness and muscle fatigue is going to be a factor here. I can't even imagine what it would be like if it was 98 degrees and 80% humidity here.
And so, I believe it was Brad Sweeney with the cramp. He's going to stay in the match. Well,
he's off, getting checked out.
Off, yeah. And I don't think that missed by too much.
No, that was a dangerous one.
And right there with Sweeney coming off, I don't believe NC State put another man on. Yeah, NC State also has 10 men on the pitch right now.
Now we just got a little 10v10 match going here.
Clemson, for the time being, and well, as I say that, in Jog Sweeney.
He heard you again, and he was like, nope, I'm back. In games like this, you can never tell what is a legitimate cramp and what is somebody that's just trying to milk the timeout just a little bit. Not taking away from the legitimacy of Sweeney's cramp, but sometimes there's a little gamesmanship in there.
Robinson is on side here. The captain Blotko trying to get in front of him. Robinson able to step in. Centers a ball. Still loose.
Not the clearance they were looking for there.
The tension mounting here. Tigers sticking with it. And that mishit will ease some of the pressure on NC State. But when you see number 9, Jason Wright, 6 yards in front of goal and the ball is there,
that's got to create some hecticness for NC State. Great ball in. Well done to fight for it. NC State is staying disciplined. They'd like a better clearance than that, but still doing a very good job of, even with this dangerous team, not budging.
Nick Retzloff comes in. Sweeney checks out. Header won by Roberts initially over and by. Clemson able to corral it. Not much time left for the Tigers as the clock ticks towards 5 minutes.
Nick Retzloff is a guy who's in his last year. He's a workhorse of a player. He's somebody that can come on and give them fresh legs.
And here's another opportunity. Clemson pushing forward with 10 men. They have lacked that final bit of skill, but I mean, wave after wave of Clemson attack here.
Yeah, all the chances are there. They just can't find that last connecting piece. And when they have, there's been very good saves.
Played that one along the turf. Offside flag went up. There were 8 Clemson Tigers in the box right there.
And that will continue for the last 4 minutes, I'm assuming. At this point, they're leaving nothing behind.
Throwing everything forward, obviously.
Throwing the kitchen sink
now,
at it.
You said game management at 10 minutes. Obviously, we see, because there is no stoppage time in college soccer, you see a lot of stalling.
Definitely.
And there's a skill to it, but at this point, this is when NC State is trying to take as much time as possible.
Absolutely, right? Especially, I mean, now it's under 5 minutes, so 10 men or not, for Clemson, they're going to slow it down. They're not trying to get another goal. It's not worth the risk. And yeah, like you said, there's no stoppage time in college soccer, so really it's up to the referee for there are any big stoppages for him to signal clock stop so that there's not unnecessary time being wasted, because it does not get tacked on when that clock hits 0.
Crop has to come out.
Great decision to come. He's been very solid for them today. All decisions have been right, very confident. I've been impressed with him.
Again, played in the 2nd division of German soccer, the Bundesliga 2. And looking very comfortable, very controlled here. Norris goes up and wins the ball.
That's another true freshman that I think I've been impressed with, is his ability to deal with the pace, the athleticism of the college level.
Elias taking down Loera, looking for an outlet, and now he's tripped up by Oliver Shannon, and this will cause even more time to be taken off, except the clock stops because of a yellow card, but eventually it will clock again. So another yellow. Our lead official has reached into his pocket quite a few times tonight.
I think a lot of these that might have been just trying to stop it and make sure there's not another dangerous effort, but some of these cards have definitely been frustration fouls, and that's just something in the game you can't afford to have.
Under 2.5 minutes, trying to get it to Roberts, trying to get it towards that corner flag. Roberts, pushing and shoving, is called for the infraction. At this point, you can see NC State's just trying to funnel it away.
Yeah.
They'll clear it out.
Yep. Clemson, really, to their credit, they've played a good game. Just I think the only thing I can fault them with is just their lack of composure. They have not stayed calm in key moments, giving away stupid fouls or other decisions that have now, they're still 1-0 down, and there's under 2 minutes left.
Wright trying to break in. David Norris is there to sweep it away. Kicks it off into the trees there. And yet you can certainly see Clemson's talent and
Yes.
their skill level. I mean, even
Definitely.
after the red card, the way that they've been able to bring it here in the second half,
Right.
Loera does keep it in play, and this is going to burn off even more precious time off the clock.
I think that's the correct call there. There might have been a little bit of acting and involved in that play.
Croft waiting, and patience is the key for NC State right now. Croft will direct traffic, and the Wolfpack faithful here in Raleigh only have a minute and 10 seconds left to wait. Is it in the cards that NC State can celebrate a win over Clemson for the first time since 2008? Under a minute. Last gasp chance for the Tigers. Sparks gets it safely away. And here comes the goalkeeper.
Good, well done by Roberts to put him under pressure so that he couldn't even take a touch with that and put it back in. And he's got hands on knees. He's feeling it right now.
Under 30 seconds, NC State is going to take its time getting the ball back in, and that might just seal it up. By the time you get it back in, does Clemson have enough time to go back down the field?
Well, the way they're keeping the ball right now.
10 seconds. The third-ranked Clemson Tigers go on the road here to Raleigh and come out with their first loss of the season. NC State knocks off third-ranked Clemson in George Kiefer's ACC opener. Welcome to Raleigh, coach, and what a win for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, that's a huge win for their season right there. Great confidence builder, like I said, great momentum builder. All credit them to stay disciplined, to fight off the many attacks from Clemson. Clemson played very well, but and we have a little. Again, there's just a lot of tension on that field right there.
I mean, tension's running high. It's NC State, it's Clemson. This is the 59th meeting. These players know each other.
They know, and they know the history as well.
Clemson certainly will not be pleased taking their first loss of the year. And really, the story for NC State, Manny Perez with that 7th-minute goal, the freshman showing his skill, and defensively, the freshman goalkeeper, that back line, they were able to keep it together. Yeah,
very, very impressive. Just two great first-year performances from both of those guys. Just two people that have really, really promising careers ahead of them. Just good pickups from Coach George Kiefer, and definitely something to be watching for as we go on, as you see that save from Croft.
So that'll do it for our broadcast here in Raleigh. For our great crew, my partner Alex McCauley, hope you enjoyed watching it. We certainly enjoyed broadcasting it. NC State knocks off third-ranked Clemson, 1-0 the final. You saw it right here on the ACC Network Extra.